Alright, Kirby Air Riders is almost here. The hype train is full of fuel and we're gunning it to release day. There are so many things to be excited for. The rosters, the machines, the courses, the story mode, the economy. Wait, the economy? Hold on, I might be onto something. Give me a sec, please. Welcome to Ridernomics 101. I'm your professor, and today we're going to go over how likely an economic recession is in Kirby Air Riders. Now, I know this idea seems far-fetched, but stay with me here. When Sakurai announced the ability to create and publish your own machine designs, he also introduced a mini-economy for buying and selling different designs for those machines. Aside from me joking about how shitty the US economy is right now, that got me thinking, hey, economies can enter economic recessions. What about the Kirby Air Riders economy? Now with that question out of my head, sit back, relax, and prepare to lose your brain cells as I try to answer this question while butchering the fundamentals of economics. So, in order to properly construct an economy, we need necessities. For example, the basic necessities in our society are food, water, shelter, and healthcare. These four things are significant because, well, we need them to survive. But enough about that, let's turn our focus back to Kirby Air Riders. On paper, there doesn't seem to be anything important to survive per se, but there are things to make players stand out from one another. I'm of course talking about the machine customization and the headwear. These two things make up the bulk of our economy. Now, headwear won't be a significant part of this economy since headwear is readily available as a box of Cheerios in a grocery store. Our main necessity of this economy is the machine decoration, with the machine market being the only means of buying and selling designs. In the second direct, Sakurai does say that the price will fluctuate based on how many people buy the design, which is where we find our supply and demand equation. Supply will be our constant variable, with demand being the dependent variable. Now, I know you're asking me where the independent variable is, but the answer to that question lies in your heart. It's you, you're the independent variable. It's you. Now that we got our variables figured out, let's plot our graph. Let's go with a basic line graph with an intersection in the middle to show the supply and demand. This will be our market equilibrium. Next, let's plot some values for our X and Y axes as well. Throw titles in and everything, and here we have our supply and demand graph. I did say that the supply line will be our only variable that doesn't change, which means that demand will be the only line moving. Now let's dive into an example. Take this race car shown in the Nintendo Direct. A lot of people like this design, and so they buy it. What this does to our graph is that it shifts the demand line up and it changes our market equilibrium. The amount of people and mile costs will go up since the demand is increasing. Now that you know how our funny little graph works, let's look into some factors that'll contribute to an economic recession. First, let's look at, arguably, the most common way recessions occur. Decline in economic activity. This happens when not enough people are buying designs from the machine market, and this could lower the value of miles in the economy, thus making machines less expensive. Next, let's look at lowered consumer spending. Sometimes, people just want to make stuff themselves. They might pull up tutorials on how to make the machines without spending the miles. This will do damage to the economy by not having enough money flow to keep prices up. Lastly, let's take a look at increased unemployment. It isn't necessarily a thing in this game, but it can be properly translated. Unemployment could mean someone dropping the game and being inactive due to loss of interest, giving away / selling their copy, etc, etc. This will decrease my machine production too. Now it's time to answer the big question I asked and in turn made you curious by you clicking on this video. Could an economic recession occur in Kirby Air Riders? Yes, most likely, probably. With the reasons that I just talked about, these could lead to the machine market to enter an economic recession. I know this game isn't out yet and I'm just spitting ideas for the sake of content, but this was actually something that was boggling my mind after seeing the machine market for the first time. I guess time will tell if I was correct or so unbelievably incorrect that I dropped the national IQ by 20 points. So, in conclusion, Kirby Air Riders can enter an economic recession. Thank you guys for coming to my TED Talk. Also, be on the lookout for my review on Kirby Air Riders in the near future. I'll see you guys soon.